Good morning, Internet. Welcome to a new week. I guess it would depend sort of where you are in the world, what day it is, whether it's Monday, Sunday, perhaps it's Tuesday. Mathematically, I'm not sure that's a plausible statement, but let's just go with it. It would also, I guess, depend on whether you live in the US and you start a week on Sunday, which means a new week would have been starting yesterday, whereas in Europe it seems to start on Monday. If you're using a lunar calendar or some other form of calendar, I have much fewer comments. Not that these comments add a lot of value. But let's get to the purpose of sort of this video. And the purpose of this video is one that I've brought up a little bit before, and will probably continue to bring up because it's something that I spend a lot of time thinking about, and that is the idea of imperfection. So what I want to do today in this video is make another analogy or extend the analogy that we've made before, how sort of LTC, learning to code, and imperfection thereof as a basis for learning is sort of similar to either making these videos or just more, I guess, in general everyday life. So let's get started. All right, so I think these videos for me have been a really sort of fun experience, sort of, I guess, more broadly for us, sort of the community, but like with my co-founder Ryan and stuff. One of the reasons they've been fun is because we stare into the eyes of uncertainty, metaphorically, and sort of we just like try to make something, i.e. these videos, knowing and seeing in real time that they are deeply imperfect. For example, this morning, I've been playing around with different positions for the tripod, which we use to record the videos, and currently there's like this TV mount on the wall, and I have a tripod that you can sort of, I'll try to include it in the videos, but you can like attach it. It sort of looks like Legos, and you can mold it into different forms. So the phone that we're using to record, which you'll eventually see this video perhaps, or I guess definitely if you're watching this video, but it's like hanging off of the TV stand. And one of the challenges that I've had is just like getting it to be level. So I guess I'm a little bit hesitant to say this, as it might start to bother a lot of you some, if it hasn't already. But a lot of our videos are not shot in sort of a leveled or even way. And that's done in an intentionally unintentional or an unintentionally intentional way, one of the two. But essentially, like, again, rather than try to spend a lot of time getting things right, in terms of buying equipment and spending an additional 20-30 minutes to like level it every time, maybe to rent a nicer apartment or go to an amateur or professional studio, we are choosing imperfection in just how to record these videos. Like, we're using the equipment that we already own. We're sometimes making things like you can, let's see if I can show you. Yeah, it should still work. So this is going to be really weird, but you can see sort of, here I'll just detach it entirely, and this is going to be a little risky because I'm unplugging my phone, but you can see sort of that our standing desk, so to speak, is a stool, which is on a desk, and then there's a little bit of mess. Again, here we have the bed, and then we have our sweet standing desk setup. Rather than buy stuff, because I'll be in France for a few months, we're using Amazon boxes. No comment on Amazon being a go-to-bed company. Maybe that's a better thing. We got a mouse stand, got an external keyboard. We're using a notebook. Because the notebook's too flat, we're using a magazine. And we're using a wash tub, shorts so that the wash tub doesn't fall off of our actual sort of monitor stand. And then, again, just sort of a desk. So I'm going to try to reattach this in live time. We'll see if this is a terrible idea, which I'm guessing it's probably not the best idea I've ever had. Oh yeah, oh. So anyway, that's just to say we're like using a series of imperfect tools and we're doing so intentionally because sort of this really interesting thing and this sort of framework that we have mentally, this thought that we have mentally is like there's a real possibility, probably a high probability that no one is going to watch these videos, that like no one's going to care what we have to say, that no one's going to take the time out of their day to listen to what we have to say. No one's going to be willing to pay in terms of attention. We're never going to get any mentions. We're just going to worry about things and create unnecessary tension. And I think, that leads to suspension. Suspension of creating sort of things and putting them out into the universe because you want them to be too right. And I guess for me it's like why just checking again. Sometimes my Apple Watch disconnects from my phone. No comment. But sometimes there's just like sort of this disconnect, and when we want things to be really great, or we want things to be closer to perfect or ideal, because we just lack confidence. Like we lack confidence, and we think what we produce in the world is a commentary on who we are. And I actually disagree with that to some degree, or I challenge just the initial adaptation of that thought concept, and sort of reframe the question is like, I think the act of producing is more of a commentary of who we are rather than what we produce. It's sort of like the common analogy or conundrum of like, it's not the final destination, it's the trip or the process that matters. Results versus process outcome. All right, so this is all good and fine. Again, just checking my watch. And the thing that I wanted to comment on is actually that this I think relates very clearly to LTC, learning to code, in the following way. Like, again, if you try to do things super well, that may be a prohibitive pursuit than to just like understanding what you'd like to do well and then working back or just limiting your first few iterations to something a little bit smaller. And then if you get that smaller chunk done, then you can go and you can attack the bigger thing that you wanted, or the more perfect version of what you wanted. I guess it's a sort of a tangential way of how this might relate. The way that I've sort of been thinking about it is like when you're studying programming, there's just like there's like a multi-infinite amount of things that you could learn or study or try to master. And that could be really daunting. It could be really frustrating because you're just like, not only are you not going to be able to learn everything, but you're not going to be able to learn anything as well as you'd like to learn. Or that's a bit extreme, but going on with this metaphor is just like, you're not going to learn as much as you want or as deeply as you want. So you have to like constantly deal with this imperfect state. And I just find that really interesting. And so my challenge to you, or my sort of the question I bring to you is like, what are you going to do about it, if anything? What are you going to do about knowing that you're imperfect? How do you think about imperfection or suboptimal states when learning to code? And do you have any strategies, any mechanisms that help you sort of deblock that initial sort of friction or stoppage that can occur when you're sort of like wanting a lot more than is perhaps realistic in the current state and time? So, in summary, again, just checking my watch, it seems to be still recording. Woo! In summary, this video was sort of riffing off of or extending the idea of imperfection and how it might relate to LTC, learning to code. We went on this sort of long example that was a bit verbose perhaps around how like just the process of recording these videos, we face a similar problem, but unlike when we created an earlier project, we created a project called Productivity Me or Splativity. You can check it out online on udemy.com or on YouTube. But we like created this project and we wanted everything to be great. Not only did we want everything to be great, but it was like, it was going to be shitty by default, or excuse my language, it was going to be bad by default because like we didn't know what the heck we were doing. So in terms of audio, video, anything, but we just produced stuff, and yet we were unhappy because we had these very high, unrealistic, perfect aspirations. So we talked a little bit about that, and how in terms of this video project, we're just like trying to deal with the tools we have and be creative around that, and just accept that like a lot of people probably aren't going to watch this. So in any case, it's Monday. I gotta go to class. I don't know what you have planned for today, but as is the theme, I hope you have a great day or night or afternoon. Really, the temporal aspect of where you are today is not important to me. I just hope that you're enjoying your day, if possible. If not, tomorrow's another day, or so the saying goes. So I'm gonna bounce like a ball. I like making the same jokes to y'all. But thanks for watching. Feel free to make comments, suggestions, all that jazz, classical music, rock, whatever type of genre, musical or otherwise you like. Go ahead and do that in the comments section, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye. Stop.